Yo, welcome back everybody to a brand new video here on the second channel. It is now time to look at every single deck that made day 2 at Baltimore Regionals. Now, of course, Baltimore was in the previous format, the Shrouded Fable meta, but honestly, the Stellar Crown format, from what we've seen so far from Japan, I don't think the format's really changed all that much, like a little bit. So I think a lot of these decks still might continue to see success within our next format, and I still think there is a lot to look at with these archetypes, because there were actually a lot of creative decks in day 2 from what we've seen so far. I mean, just looking at it, I'm already looking at like 2 decks that I don't think anybody would have predicted to do this well at Baltimore Regionals. Maybe a bit of FOMO for missing out on it, not gonna lie. Low-key wish I kind of went. But anyways, I'm excited to look at today's day 2, all the decks, all that stuff. I'll leave a link to Limitless down below if you want to go check out the site for yourself and look at all the decks for yourself. And of course, if you're new here to the second channel, make sure to subscribe down below. We're on the road to 17,000 subs. If you want to enjoy the video, leave a like and all that good stuff. So without further ado, let's get into it. We'll take a look at the top 8 here to start things off. We have Henry Chow winning with Gardevoir. Gardevoir winning Baltimore was not on my bingo card. I thought Gardevoir was like okay for the tournament. I just thought Drago was still a bit of a problem. But Henry Chow proved that Gardy can beat Reggie Drago with his Turbo Gardevoir list, I think as he calls it, with a lot of really interesting inclusions like the Secret Box Ace Spec over Unfair Stamp, playing Pheasantipity, playing only 1 Monkey Dory, 1 Dark, playing 3 Bravery Charm. Most of the time, you're just attacking with either Drifloon or Screamtail. And as you can see, there's no Fluttermane in the deck, no Cresselia. There is a Klefki, which I still think is important against those Turbo decks that use Squawkabilly and Ogerpon, but it's still a very fast deck. He's got the 2 Research, 2 Candy, and we saw, I mean, he cooked Kieran in the finals of the tournament. Those turn 2 Gardevoir plays are insane. And the fact is, this deck can aggressively push for turn 2 Gardevoir, which does make this deck pretty darn scary. And I definitely am excited to see if this Guardy list can see more play. I don't know if it's better than the normal Guardy list, but maybe heading into the Stellar Crown format, this could be the optimal way to play Guardy. We'll have to see, though. It definitely is an interesting list. A lot of interesting inclusions. A very different way to play Gardevoir, but a very strong way. And, of course, Henry was able to win the entire tournament. Also, Henry did get top 8 at NEIC with Gardevoir, like, a couple months back. So he's already been on this Guardy train for a while. So cool stuff. All right, and then of course we got my boy Kieran in the finals here. Kieran almost took down a tournament. I mean, he's been missing that big tournament win. He was able to make it to the finals with, of course, Lugia. Kieran is one of Lugia's strongest soldiers, and definitely a really simple list. I mean, very consistent, straightforward is what Kieran said on Twitter. He's got the 4 Research, 2 Iono, 4 Boss, no Carmine or anything, just all in on the Research Boss stuff. I mean, a lot of the time, Lugia just wants to spam Boss's order anyways. This is kind of how it works. We see the Weird Ear in the deck there, and my webcam's kind of covering it. Maybe I guess I can make this a little bit smaller so you guys can see a bit more of the list. But yeah, there's Weird Ear in there. Got the Squawkabilly in the deck, which I think is actually kind of interesting. I think most of the Lugias this weekend were playing Squawk, or at least the 2 in top 8 were, or 3 in top 8 were playing Squawk. So I think Squawkabilly is a good card in Lugia. I thought it was mid at first because it clogs your bench up, it's an easy liability, and it doesn't do a lot, but I actually think it does more than you think because it allows you to easily get turn 2 Archeops, which a lot of the time Lugia needs to do in order to win games. And then, of course, we do have Roy Moon in top 4. I did predict that Roy Moon would make top 8 in my meta prediction video. It was in the thumbnail, and look at that, it made top 8. It almost could have, I mean, I don't know if it would have won the tournament because that Turbo Guardiolus might have been a little difficult to beat, but I do think that Moon definitely had its way into top 8. I'm not surprised to see it as the highest performing Turbo big basic deck. Which is crazy enough, there was a lot of Raging Bolt. Day 1 was 15% Raging Bolt or something ridiculous like that. And then Raging Bolt like completely fell off the map in day 2. But Roid Moon was the highest placing Turbo Big Basic deck. Few upgrades in the list. There's a Mew EX in the deck. There's a bundle. There's an Enhanced Hammer, which actually won a game against Kieran in the top 4 there. So the Enhanced Hammer is really good for the Lugia call, and actually was a good call in general. Like, I mean, there was a lot of Lugia this tournament. It actually overperformed, so Lugia definitely being popular was a good call to play the E-Hammer. Then, of course, we have 2 more Lugia in top 8. We had Steven here with Lugia, who's also playing Squawkabilly, playing the Jock, playing 3 Research, 2 Iono. It's got the Weird Ear Cinccino. Might have been like 1 different card from Kieran's list. And then we have Rahul, who just ran it back with his World Championship Top 8 Lugia 60. He did a tournament report on his channel already, so you can go check out Rahul's channel on YouTube if you want to hear him talk more about the deck in depth and his run in the tournament and kind of how his plays went and stuff like that. But he just basically played the exact 60 from his World Championship top 8 placement. Playing the Raikou, just a nice efficient attacker. It's a lightning Pokemon, can hit for weakness against Pidgeot. It has fleet-footed, which low-key can be good sometimes to bail you out if you're looking for specific pieces. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Yeah, I mean, this deck is very strong. It's definitely a Lugia deck that I'm excited to test myself because I really do like the idea of Raikou. I don't know how good this Lugia list is compared to the other Lugia list going into our next format. That's something that I'm kind of thinking about is like, okay, is this Raikou build optimal? If there's a lot of Palkia and a lot of Area Zero in our new format, maybe playing Raikou and Lugia is actually going to be a lot better now. So could be something to consider going forward. Now, the crazy thing is probably the big rogue deck from the tournament was the Cornerstone Ogerpon Noivern deck. Now, this deck was all over the tournament. There was a lot of people playing this deck. I think the deck originated from Cyrus Davis and Natalie Miller. I think they are the ones who like created this archetype. My friend Dennis got like top 32 with the deck. I've seen Nolan here in top 8 with this deck. It's a really simplistic like lock deck. It's just using the Cornerstone Ogerpon and then the Noivern EX. The Noivern does have that covert flight attack, which is really, really good this tournament at beating all the big basic decks. If you put a Mist Energy on it, you can't get Roaring Moon KO'd by Frenzy Gouging, and Raging Bolt can't do anything against you if you get a lone Noivern in play. There's also, of course, the Ogerpon, which just kind of just wins a lot of matches by itself. I mean, you beat Charizard. You're pretty good into Drago because you just have 4 of them, and you're also playing a lot of like cards to protect it. You have Penny, Scuba Cyclone, Rock Chest Plate. You're attacking with the Cornerstone Ogerpon more often than not. Like, it's actually a pretty smart concept for a deck, and it did really good this tournament. It was the big secret rogue deck of the tournament, and it dominated and did really, really good. It was a really good meta call, especially because day 1 was like 15% Raging Bolt. There was so many big basic decks, and I'm sure we're just kind of like, they see your opponent flip over a Noibat, and they're just like, bruh, what did I just walk into? So cool stuff for sure. And it was able to make top 8, which is awesome. We got Rowan here in top 8 with Regidrago. Drago, I think, was still the best deck for the tournament overall, and we see Rowan in top 8 with it. There was 2 Drago in top 8. Rowan, of course, playing the list, has the Gudra on the deck, playing the Cleffa, the Halucha. I think the big addition to the deck are the Bundle and the Collapse Stadium. Bundle's really good because you're able to push up 2 prizers. It's actually a really good like checkmatey kind of card. And then also the Collapse Stadium being really good too, just because you can get rid of a liability on your bench or something, which is nice. So cool 60. And then, of course, we got Ian Robb with the Drago deck too. I clicked on Rowan again. All right, we got Ian Robb with the Drago 60. Looks like he changed his list up a little bit from Worlds. I was trying to see if there's anything different. He does have the Jamming Tower, Temple of Sinnoh. Didn't play the Pokestop from the Bradner build, but does have the Temple and Jamming Tower in there. Plays the Gudra. Plays only 1 Dragapult. I guess that's like the big difference is only having the 1 Dragapult. So Ian Robb got his redemption and almost ran it back with another tournament win back-to-back. So cool stuff. But yeah, I think Drago was still really good for the tournament. I probably would have played it had I gone to Baltimore myself. So I'm not surprised to see a couple in top 8. The Drago did lose to the Gardevoir. And Henry, I mean, also looking at Henry's list here, there's no Manaphy in the deck, right? So, like, that definitely could have been a big deal for Henry. And we saw Rowan kind of brick in, I think, Game 3 and Game 2. Rowan just kind of had a slow start and just couldn't capitalize on Henry's, like, kind of mediocre setup without having Manaphy. Now, interesting enough, at 9th place, I think it was Asymmetrical Cut, was a Palkia V-Star Dusknoir deck with Greninja. Now, I'm not too sure if Hunter Butler was playing the same list, because we saw Hunter Butler get streamed round 9. It might have been the same 60, because he had, like, the Greninja in there, he had the Ursaluna. Unfortunately, Hunter did lose his winning in against Gardevoir because he started Blood Moon Game 2, and, like, absolutely could not find Switch, and went through, like, probably about 95% of his deck until he found a switching card. So very unfortunate, and the opponent just sat there with Klefki the entire game, which is kind of sad. But overall, Palkia, Dusknoir, another surprise archetype. I think nobody really expected the deck to be this good, and it did this well. I mean, it was getting a little bit of hype in the online tournament scene leading into Baltimore, but I don't think anyone expected the deck to actually technically get top 8 in the Asymmetrical Cut. But there are a lot of interesting inclusions. Palkia being your main attacker, just a really strong, efficient attacker. You can use Greninja. You have the Dusknoir in the deck. You can use Dusknoir to like knock out Manaphy for Greninja. You have Greninja EX in the deck, which pretty sure is just really good as a 1 prize attacker, or a 1 energy, 2 prize attacker. That's a fighting Pokemon, hit for weakness in specific matchups. I think that's like the main purpose behind the Greninja. I'm pretty sure this is Greninja EX's highest placement since it's been released. That's kind of cool. So fun stuff for sure. Really interesting Palkia list here. Yeah, definitely interesting. I don't know if it'll be good in the new format, though Palkia definitely looks like it could be good in the new format with Aries Zero. But this deck is a bit more turbo. It's playing Pokestop. It's kind of like the Bayonet Dusknoir deck Henry built, kind of the same idea, except you're playing Palkia and Greninja instead of Bayonet, right? So it's kind of like a similar concept. Then we have, of course, Control making it all the way to 10th place. I think another deck that made Asymmetrical Cut here. It was Pidgey Control with 3 Snorlax, 3 Mimikyu, Cornerstone Ogerpon. It was basically just like a stall control deck as opposed to like a Pidgeot resource control deck. It's more of just like a stall deck because you play the 3 Snorlax. I didn't expect Control to do as well either. I was surprised to see Control make it all the way to top 16 like that, but Definitely a strong deck if played by the right player, especially with all the Lugia going around, because we do have another Lugia in top 16 here. This one did not play Squawk Ability. It played Thornton, Carmine, Serena, and a Fluttermane. The Fluttermane can be very nice into a specific number of matchups, mainly like good against Iron Thorns, but also just can slow the opponent down sometimes, depending on how well they start. A couple Snorlaxes here making top 16. Not surprised to see Snorlax do so well. I thought Snorlax was like not in a bad spot this weekend. This one of the Snorlaxes had the Neutralization Zone Ace spec in the deck, which is also very interesting, and sure that could have been a pretty annoying threat to deal with for sure. And then, of course, we do have Raging Bolt in top 16. Raging Bolt did really, really good in day 1, and then completely just kind of underperformed day 2. At the very least, didn't translate as well into day 2. Like, its conversion rate wasn't very high. But Raging Bolt was very popular, and, I mean, it's just, like, the most straightforward, just go boom deck. Other than Roaring Moon, obviously, Raging Bolt doesn't really have a lot of room for, like, technology. It's just kind of go big, go fast, do your thing, and, yeah, pretty straightforward stuff for sure. And we have another Lugia in top 16 with the Squawk, playing the Fez, the Weird Ear, the Double Cinccino. And then we had one more Drago in top 16 here. Same 60 as Ian, it looks like. All right, let's see what else we got going on outside the top 16. We had fellow Canadian Alum Calamont in 17th place with Gardevoir. He's been playing a lot of Gardy, so I wasn't surprised to see him do this well with Gardevoir. Playing the Klefki, the Fluttermane, just kind of like the classic build of the deck. Obviously not the Henry build, just more classic, straightforward. It's got the Devo in there, Temple Sinnoh for Lugia, which ended up being pretty popular this weekend. And then we got another Snorlax in top 32. A lot of Stally decks did make it pretty far in this tournament, and I'm not surprised to see that, especially the more Snorlax-focused stall decks. There was one Ancient Box deck in top 32, piloted by Andrew Kennett, who is, interesting enough, playing a very interesting build of the Ancient Box deck. It's not really like your typical Ancient Box list. It's like an Ancient Box control deck, if that makes any sense. It does have an Eerie in the deck and a double Cornerstone Ogerpon. With the Cornerstone Ogerpon, really good into Charizard, which is notoriously one of Roaring Moon's harder matchups, but also plays 4 Great Tusks. So not only are you like a Roaring Moon deck, but you're also a mill stall Cornerstone Tusk build. So interesting stuff. You can kind of lean into different angles with how the deck is played, which is nice. You can beat up on the big basics with the Moon, or you can control your opponent with Cornerstone and Tusk. So really cool 60. Really cool stuff. Another Raging Bolt here in top 32, playing the Fluttermane and Sandy Shocks. We got Dennis here, my friend Dennis, playing, once again, the Cornerstone Ogerpon Noivern deck, the secret rogue deck. And I guess one thing to note about this deck is, will this deck continue to see play in our Stellar format? We'll have to see on that one. I don't know how good this is in the new format, but honestly, the baseline is there for a strong deck still, so we'll have to see on that one for sure. Got another Ancient Box here. Just another deck that got a lot of hype this weekend. It didn't really overperform, but didn't underperform either. It's just kind of like midly performed, I guess. Kind of the way I expect an Ancient Box to do this weekend. This one does play the Cobalion in the deck to help against the Charizard matchup, obviously. Then we got another Drago here, piloted by my friend Justin Kim. I knew my whole friend testing group were all on Regidrago this weekend. They were fine-tuning the 60 and stuff, so I knew they were all going to be playing the list, and we see my friend Justin and make it to top 32 of the deck. So somebody in our group made it to top 32, which is exciting to see. So shout out Justin Kim for making it this far in the tournament with Drago. Then we got Snorlax here, piloted by Ryan Antonucci, playing it with the Ogerpon. It's got the Mimikyus, no neutralization zone. A couple more Lugias here back-to-back, one with Flutter. Then we got another Lugia here with the Flutter. So 2 Lugia Fluttermanes in a row. And then we got Tyler Matthews with the Bayonet Dusknoir deck. So I'm not surprised to see somebody make day 2 of this deck, especially top 32 is a pretty good placement for the Bayonet deck. It's a deck that I was expecting somebody to bring to the tournament and do well with, because it's a very strong deck with a lot of counterplay, a lot of play that can be made. Actually, a bit of a harder deck to play against also, due to the nature of how the deck focuses and acts. I did a video on the deck already. It's a pretty strong deck. There's so many moving pieces and lines. It might be a bit more complex than even the Palkia build, to be honest with you, but really cool to see it make it this far into the tournament. Another Bolt here, playing the Sandy Shocks. And we got another Turbo Moon with the Darkrai V-Star and the Dusknoir. So kind of like a hybrid-y, Darkrai Dusknoir deck. It actually might be similar to the Darkrai Dusknoir deck we've actually been seeing get a lot of hype. I think a few other players made it to day 2 with the Darkrai Dusknoir deck, so we'll have to kind of look into that a little bit more. Heading into some other decks. We got yet another Noivern Ogerpon deck. It is a bit different, though, than the other builds. It does have Pidgeot, Cleffa, and Blood Moon in the deck, instead of just Cornerstone and Noivern, but cool stuff to see nonetheless. Then we got a bunch of Lugias in a row. Again, Lugia did really good this weekend with all the, stall control decks. Also, the lack of Miraidon. We haven't even seen a Miraidon deck yet. I'm sure it was just a really good weekend for Lugia all around. Definitely was a good call. Then we got another Turbo Moon. Very straightforward, just the one from Worlds, playing Iono instead of Judge, it looks like. And then we got another Pidgey control played by Liam Halliburton. Actually, it looks like same 60 as Jeremy Gibson. But yeah, once again, on that stall Pidgeot deck, as opposed to just like Pidgeot control, it's just more of like a stall type of build. And we got another Snorlax here. A lot of stall doing good this tournament. I was not surprised to see that, though there was a lot of Lugia that did good to kind of offset it. We got another Drago with the Pokestop in the deck here. The double Dragapult, the Gudra, and stuff. Then we got a Cloth in day 2. This Cloth deck actually was running really hot this tournament. In fact, I think it was really close to making top 8 at one point, from what I've heard, which is kind of crazy. But it's Cloth with the promo patch. Yes, promo patch run has got itself a limitless page. Really cool stuff. Yeah, interesting Cloth 60 here. Playing for 4 Cloth, the Peck run. It's got the Electrode in the deck. The Electrode obviously being decent at a Charizard. Also gives you a 4-seal target. It's got Cobalion in the deck for extra damage into the Moon decks. Yeah, really cool to see this deck make it this far in the tournament. I think if it just dodges Lugia and Control and Gardevoir, this deck probably can run pretty hot. I mean, I don't know about the Charizard matchup, but I'm sure they had to play against a couple Charizards. So really cool stuff. Seeing Cloth make it this far is kind of sick, especially with that promo Peck in the deck. And then we got another... Well, actually, this might be the first Charizard, actually, right? Is it the first Charizard? Am I trolling? Actually, I think this is the first Charizard deck. Wow, yeah, it actually is the first Charizard deck. Wow. Okay, so the first Charizard, we got Owen Rhodes here with the Charizard deck here. Playing the Entei in the deck with the Prime Catcher. No Hero's Cape. That was kind of the big talk of the town. Also, no Dusknoir. So the highest placing Zard, 60, didn't run Dusknoir or Hero's Cape. Played double Turo. It's kind of like the Tord build, except he's got like the Entei in the deck. Like the old classic Tord build, I should say. Not the modern one, but like the more classic one. Not playing Thorn or anything. No Hero's Cape. Just... You got the Entei, which helps into the Drago matchup because you can attack Ogerpon and you have 230 HP, which is a very awkward number for Drago to hit. So that's cool. Cool stuff for sure. We got our highest placing Goldango here in top 64. Cameron Kawasaki, I'm pretty sure also played this to day 2 of Worlds, so it's cool to see him run it back with the day 2 of Goldango. And we got another Drago here played by Vance Kelly, the 2023 World Champion, playing the deck with the Temple and the Jamming Tower. Then we got yet another Cornerstone Ogerpon Noivern deck. Pretty sure they're all in the same 60. Yeah, just all same 60s. We got an Arc Armor Rouge in day 2. That's kind of cool. It's actually a bit of a different Arc Armor Rouge. It's not Arc Armor Rouge with fire Pokemon like Gouging Fire. It's got Rainbow Energy attackers like Hands and Raikou, and even plays Monkey Dory. Now, this is a really cool deck. Now, I think Arc is actually kind of underrated right now. Like, there's still ways you can play it. I thought Arc Dusknoir was a good deck. I think there's actually a couple Arc Dusknoir in day 2. Surprisingly, a lot more Arc made day 2 this tournament than I would have expected. But the cool thing about this deck is the Lightning package. You got the Raikou, really good at beating Pidgeot, and then you got the Iron Hands, which is just good into a lot of decks, obviously. So that's cool to see this Arc Rainbow Armor Rouge deck do so well. This is a deck I've seen a lot, like online tournaments and like in Japan. I've never seen it do this well, because everyone always plays like the more straightforward fire build of Arc Armor Rouge. So sick stuff. Another Guardy playing Mimikyu, more, classic build. Got another Drago here, played by your boy Celio's Network, making it to day 2 with the deck, with the Temple and the Jamming. Same 6 as Ian and Rob. We got another Charizard here with the Dusknoir, the highest placing Charizard Dusknoir deck in top 64. Playing the Unfair Stamp as the Ace-Spec, no Hero's Cape, playing Thornton and Radzard and stuff too. So cool stuff for sure. All right, let's see here. We got another control. Now, this was, of course, Tord playing Pidgey control. So, yeah, Tord ended up playing Pidgeot control to Baltimore. Really cool stuff. I mean, I wasn't predicting what Tord was going to play or anything, but I was not expecting a control deck. He was playing Noivern in the deck. He's got the Shiyu. This is kind of like the more standard Pidgeot control decks we've been seeing. There's no Snorlax or anything. It just has the control package. He's playing the Regieleki for the resources. Got the Luxray to snipe stuff out of the hand. The Wellspring Ogerpon Mawile combo, Sandshrew. The one big thing was the Radiant Jirachi that Tord played. This was kind of like the big, I guess, like, surprise of the tournament was Tord playing a Radiant Jirachi in his deck, but it's an interesting concept. I'm not sure what it was for exactly, other than, obviously, like, the ability's really good when it gets knocked out. In the active spot, you can get any 3 cards out of your deck, but also, obviously, just have that Astro Misfortune attack. I'm assuming it was there to, like, knock something out. Obviously, if they get really lucky with it. I don't think there's a way you can, like, guarantee a knockout. So I'm not too sure what the Jirachi was for exactly, but it is cool to see Tord playing control. And he was able to make it to top 64 of the deck, so had a pretty good run still. We got a Lugia here, once again, playing the Wellspring Ogerpon and the Squawk. Another Cornerstone Noivern deck. Then we got another Charizard here with the Dusknoir and the Entei. The Entei was kind of just a big thing to have in the deck this weekend, just helping against the Regidrago matchup, of course. And then we got Guardy here, once again, playing just the Monkey Dory, Drifloon, classic stuff. Another Snorlax control deck. Stall, I mean, not control, because there's no Pidgeot EX in the deck. That one had Blood Moon or Saluna, which is actually really smart. So Blood Moon or Saluna, I guess I should quickly say it. Yeah, Blood Moon is really good into Roaring Moon, because if they just go Moon Peck, you can just go Blood Moon Iono and then just sweep them from there, basically. Because like a lot of the time, Moon just goes one Moon, one Peck run, and then you can just like hit them with the Blood Moon or Saluna and punish them for playing passively, and that could probably win you the set, assuming you game 2 goes to time. And then of course we got another Raging Bolt here. We got another Pidgey Control with the double Snorlax, playing 2 different Ogerpons, the Wellspring and the Cornerstone. It's got the Ursaluna in there and the Luxray, and Hero's Cape as the Ace Spec. And we got Jake Santiago playing the same 60 Drago as Ian Robb. They got another Turbo Moon here with pretty much looks like it was just similar to the list from Worlds, obviously. Another Pidgey Control. A lot of Pidgey Control. Again, a lot of Stall Control did good this tournament. Surprised to see that once again. Playing the Noivern double Ogerpon. Kind of like the other build, just kind of different, I guess, in a way. Then we got another Cornerstone Lugia deck. Or Lugia. What the Cornerstone Lugia? What the heck? That's actually sounding kind of broken. No, Cornerstone Noivern. Not sure why I said Lugia. More Guardy here. Classic build. Got another Snorlax here with the Regieleki and the Blood Moon Ursaluna for a bit of more control. Then we got the Drago once again with the Jamming Tower. We got another Zard played by Brent Tonneson, who was on stream. So, yes, you want to see this Zard Dusknoir deck in action, you can check Brent's stream match, playing the 2-1, 1 Dusknoir line. It's got the Hero's Cape as you expect. Just kind of more standard stuff we've seen. No Entei in the deck or anything, though. Just kind of the big difference in that build there. Another Lugia, put the Flutter Mane in that deck. Another Turbo Moon. Let's see what else we got. Another Drago. Play with the Pokestop and the Temple. Looks very similar to Isaiah Bradner's list, actually, with no Gudra. Another Zard here. Zard with a very heavy line of Dusknoir. This was a different build of Zard, actually. This one I'm actually interested to look at. So, Charizard Dusknoir without Pidgeot is an interesting concept, but it's a bit more of a turbo-focused deck where you're actually trying to spam Dusknoir a lot more quicker in a match and then just beat them down with Charizard. So you're heavier on the Dusknoir, meaning you're Dusknoiring more often and then, doing bigger damage with Charizard more often. And also playing Pokestop, so it's leaning into that turbo engine. Kind of like how the Palkia, the Bayonet deck play with the Pokestop engine stuff, so it's a very similar concept. Now, the one thing is the deck plays only 4 fire, so very slim line of fire energy, but you do play double Rod and 4 Stretcher. I guess like a lot of people were saying like the one difference they'd make to the list was to add like a 5th energy maybe, but that's really cool. It's a very unique Charizard 60. Another Ancient Box with the Slitherwing and the double Roaring Moon EX. So we got another Drago, no Gudra, another Charizard Pidgey with the Dusknoir and the Entei. Let's see, here we got Lugia here with the 3 Cinccino, and then we got another Drago with the Temple Jamming Tower. Let's see what else we got here. Another Ancient Box with the one of Roaring Moon and the Petron. No Fez, it looks like. We got our first Miraidon. So, yeah, Miraidon didn't do this good this weekend. I mean, there's one in day 2 so far we've looked at. But, yeah, Miraidon underperformed. I'm surprised to see that. I thought there was going to be a lot more Miraidon in this tournament and a lot more Miraidon doing good in this tournament, especially with all Lugia doing well. It's honestly surprising to see Miraidon not perform as well. I don't know. If anyone just played Miraidon, just hit a bunch of Zard, I have no idea what happened there. So, kind of crazy to see Miraidon's highest placement being 73rd place. I expected a lot more out of Miraidon this weekend. Another Zard with Dusknoir playing Mist Energy and Hero's Cape. Then we got another Lugia. Or the Klefki, that's an interesting inclusion. Also playing Roseanne's backup too. Cool. I guess Klefki would help against like the stall decks, right? Slow him down a little bit so you can set up a Lugia. We got Drago again here, playing Michael Davidson, got Type Beta Worlds, and then here we go. We got Aiden Koos with the Arc Dusknoir deck. So another deck that I'm surprised to see in day 2. A lot of real creativity with the Dusknoir decks in day 2. Another cool build here with the Arc V-Star 2/2 Arc line. Not super heavy, but does play 4/1/3 Dusknoir, playing the Blood Moon. It's got Fez, Alakazam, Delibird, Iron Bundle, I mean. Yeah, cool stuff. This is a very interesting 60. And just another build just utilizing the brand new Dusknoir to its full potential. A lot of Dusknoir this weekend. A lot of Dusknoir. We got another Snorlax with the Shiyu, double Mimikyu. Let's see here. I think we already looked at that. A couple more Dragos to look at here. We got one Drago, and then we got Lucas Zing playing Drago also with the Pokestop and the Jamming Tower. We got Lugia here, once again, with the Squawkabilly and stuff. Let's see. All right, we got more creative decks. Yeah, here we go. We got another one of the Cornerstone Noivern decks. This one's a bit different, though. It's playing 4 Mimikyu in the deck. Also playing the other Noivern here with Radiant Hunt. Knock out one of your opponent's Radiant Pokemon. It's an interesting attacker. And then we got a Dusknoir Darkrai deck. So this is kind of one of the bigger rogue decks here, played by Alex Shemansky, who also was on stream. If you want to see this deck in action, Alex Shemansky was streamed with the Darkrai Dusknoir deck. Darkrai Dusknoir is a very interesting concept that's been getting popular recently, I think by Tim Danklin, I think his name is. So, like, he's been popularizing the deck a lot. Even did, like, a video, like, breaking down the deck and everything. So, cool stuff. And somebody was able to convert to a pretty good finish. I mean, Alex was, like, 8-1, I think, after day 1 with the deck or something like that. Crazy. And we got another Ancient Box, another Moon, Raging Bull, playing the Slitherwing. I've been hearing a little bit of talk about Slitherwing in the deck, too, because you can, like, knock it out and stuff, which is, like, sometimes activates weird plays. Another Arc Dusknoir day 2, same 60 as Aiden Koos. Another Snorlax here. Let's see, another Charizard deck with the Entei and the Dusknoir. Another Drago, played by Jack Moore. Pretty good Canadian player there. We got Snorlax once again. Another Pidgeot Charizard with the Dusknoir and the Entei and the Prime Catcher. Looks like a lot of people are on that, like, same 60 this weekend. We got a couple more Ancient Boxes in a row. We got one with the Tusk. I think Tusk was, like, very popular this weekend in Ancient Box. Yeah, 3 Tusk in this build, and then this other Ancient Box. Well, again, also played 4 Tusk. So, yeah, Tusk was pretty popular with an Ancient Box. And then we got a Blood Moon Valiant to day 2. Now, that's awesome to see. Like I said, a lot of really cool rogues made to day 2. Despite day 2 being harder to make it to, we still saw a lot of creative decks in day 2, which is really awesome to see. Nonetheless, a lot more creativity in this tournament, which I was kind of worried about due to, like, how hard it was to make day 2, needing to, like, at least go, like, 21 match points to make day 2. I thought, like, the more, like, rogue stuff weren't going to make it to day 2, but there was surprisingly a decent amount of them in day 2, which is happy to see. Then we got another Ancient Box. We got the first Quad Thorns. I didn't expect Quad Thorns to do this well this weekend. Like, it's a fine deck, but seeing it not do as well isn't surprising. Also, with all the, like, the control decks, definitely not surprised to see it underperform with all the Noivern going around, all the, like, Mimikyu being used. Like, the one list here we saw on day 2 so far doesn't even play the clone, right? So you just lose on the spot to Mimikyu. But yeah, Quad Thorns in day 2. I'm not surprised to see at least 1 or 2 in day 2, which it looks like there's a couple. We got a Lost Bolt in day 2. Not expecting this in day 2 at all, but hey, Lost Bolt in day 2. I mean, it's basically just Sablezard with Dragapult, right? And Sablezard's not a bad deck either. So, another Guardy here. More classic build. I don't think anyone was playing the Henry Chow build. I'm pretty sure he didn't leak it or anything, obviously. We got another build of Lugia playing the Raikus, much like Rahul's Worlds list. Another Drago here. And then we got another Ancient Box with the 2 Tusk. And then we got another Quad Thorns. This one did have 2 Cologne, so maybe would have had a better chance into the stall decks. But definitely wouldn't have beaten the Noivern deck, though. But yeah, a couple of Thorns in day 2 off that World's finish. And we got a bunch of Drago here in a row. I guess I got a lot of the Dragos. I mean, Drago didn't really underperform. There were 2 in top 8. It did better, not than I expected, but did as good as I expected it to do. But Drago definitely can have those awkward draws. With all, like, the stall control decks going around, I mean, I'm sure Drago had a big target on his head. There's a Maroon that had Temple Sinnoh in it. Another Raging Bolt, an Ancient Box here with the Koraidon. And then we got a Sablezard in day 2. Happy to always see Sablezard in day 2. I know there was the Lost Bolt deck also in day 2, but, Sablezard, cool stuff. I didn't play the Dragapult, but Sablezard's cool. I like this deck a lot, so happy to see in day 2. Another Ancient Box, a lot of Ancient Box. Then we got some Charizard once again, playing Fluttermane and Petron in the deck, and the Dusknoir. Or Dusclops, not even playing Dusknoir, actually. Interesting, 60. Another Zard with the Entei and the Bibarel. Stuff like that. We got a couple more Turbo Moons, back-to-back. 2 Turbo Moons here. This one has an unfair stam in the deck. That's an interesting day spec. I guess it would help in, like, Turbo Mirror stuff. Another Charizard with Dusknoir and Entei. Another Raging Bolt. And then it looks like another Sablezard made in day 2 here with Tomb and Monkey Dory. Yeah, cool stuff, cool stuff. Happy to see a couple of that in day 2. And then we got another Roaring Moon, or Raging Bolt. Why? I'm getting the names mixed up. I apologize. I am trolling. Just so many decks to look at. Another Regidrago, another Raging Bolt. And we have 1 Shempao in day 2 here. Surprised to see not more Shempao. Looks like also pretty similar 60 to the Lucas Zing 60 from Worlds. I guess there's no Silene. Surprised to see not more Shempao in day 2. I mean, I guess it wasn't the greatest play with all the stall running around, all the control. Yeah. I'm just surprised to see it underperform a little bit. Another Lugia here with the double Cinccino. Another Guardy with Gallade in the deck. That's interesting. Also, no Drifloon. 3 Monkey Dories, more of like a Monkey Dory focus build, and playing Hero's Cape. We got a Lugia with the Fluttermane and Squawk, and then we got an Ancient Box, and then finally we got ourselves another Charizard in day 2 with the Bibarel and the Canceling Cone Hero's Cape. So there you go. Those are all the decks that made day 2 at Baltimore. Again, Baltimore is a bit harder to make day 2, so big congrats to everybody who did make day 2. Again, that 21 match point record being a little bit harder to make it into day 2, but a lot of really cool stuff in day 2. Like I said, a lot of really cool rogue decks doing well, like the Palkia Dusknoir deck, the Arc Dusknoir deck, the Cloth deck with Petrun, the Noivern Cornerstone Ogerpon Secret Rogue deck that swept the tournament. A lot of really cool stuff was in day two, and I'm happy to see that. I was kind of worried that with the 21 match point change, the day two was going to be a little bit more like just normal like list, maybe with like a few spicy techs, but I wasn't expecting as many rogues to do this good at the first major tournament with the new season change. So it's cool to see that is still happening, and hopefully we can continue to see this trend going forward. Just makes looking at day two decks more exciting than just like looking at generic Charizard and Guardian, Snorlax, Lugia over and over and over again. It's nice to see a lot more variety and creativity still in day two, despite day two being a little bit harder to make it to this time around. But cool stuff nonetheless, and I'm definitely excited to see how Kentucky goes down. I think a lot of these decks are still potentially good to look at within the Stellar Crown format. Like this Noivern Cornerstone Ogerpon deck, for example, I still think could exist in our next format. So we'll have to see on that one. Palkia Dusknoir maybe could still be a thing. Like there's a lot of potential for a lot of these decks to carry over into the next format. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Let me know what your favorite deck from day two was today and all that good stuff. If you're new to the channel, subscribe down below. Help me on the reaching 17,000 subs. Leave a link to Limitless here, the site I'm using in the description below if you want to go check out and the list for yourself and build them. Yeah, I'll catch you on another video very soon. Bye-bye.